So welcome back. Welcome back to the Divine Pulse Community Circle. This is our December 2023 edition of the Divine Pulse. This is a free monthly gathering, monthly transmission brought through by me, Elsa Field, and sponsored by our Myrtle Grove Mystery School, which is our online sacred sound community and school for women who are awakening on the path of the divine feminine voice and sacred sound. So it is my joy to host this gathering for you all today. And these free monthly circles are really this opportunity for us to dive in to the celestial energies of this moment, of this time, to support you in riding the waves of energy that happen every month as we cycle with the sun, the stars, and the moon. And the inspiration for these gatherings is, of course, our ancient and ever new Priestess path, which is constantly reminding us of that deep and profound magic and knowledge that we each hold within us, that is reflected in the cycles of the earth and the stars. And it is my belief that women have been gathering in this way on a regular cycle, be it in harmony with the cycle of the moon or the astrological time of year, or whatever it may be, for thousands and thousands of years. We know this from the fact that the earliest calendars are made in the likeness of goddesses, right? They are that lunar imagery where the etchings are made of the lunar cycle, the 28 days of the lunar cycle. So we know that this passage of time has always been connected to the cycles of the moon and other astrological alignments, and has been associated with the goddess, with the divine mother, since the dawn of time, since the earliest days of humanity. So I know that each one of you here feels that call in your own unique ways, wherever you are at on your path, on your spiritual journey. This space is here for you to tap into every month, should you choose, as I bring forward a divinely guided teaching and a sacred sound journey, a practice for us to do together. It's also where I really share a lot of the behind the scenes kind of info for those who are interested about our Sacred Sound School. And so in this month's edition, I'm super excited to announce that tomorrow I will be sending out the waitlist enrollment information for next year's Priestess of Sacred Sound program. So excited to share that with all of you. I know that a few of you who are here have been waiting patiently for that information, and it will be coming to you tomorrow. So if you haven't joined the waitlist yet, please know that you can do that at any time if this path calls to you. You can go to priestessofsacredsound.com and find out more about our signature training program, which is our Priestess practitioner training in the arts of the sound healer and the priestess combined. This is a completely unique program that I have brought through in communion with Hathor, with Isis, and with my guides. And it is always such a joy to really guide women each year through the sacred mysteries of sound. So I'll be sharing a little bit more about the program at the end of the circle, because we are entering that phase of the year where we actually open enrollments for you to join us. For most of the year, I'm busy actually offering the training and being on retreat with the women who have joined us. So it's super exciting that over the next few months, we get to really journey with that priestess sound healer archetype. And I look forward to welcoming those of you that feel called to join us with that live group journey next year. All right, my loves. So in today's circle, we will be journeying with the energies of the earth at this time as we approach the solstice, really revitalizing our energy in deep connection with the earth as she is in her winter slumber for most of us here live. And so to prepare us for this immersive journey, I invite you to join me in a grounding and an invocation to open our circle today. So please just making sure that you're in a comfortable seated position, and feel free to close your eyes or soften your gaze. Taking some deep breaths. And allowing your body to settle. Allowing your nervous system to relax. Taking this time for you as you lengthen your breath, taking deep breaths in and out. As you exhale out, letting go of anything from your day that you've been holding on to, anything that's heavy, anything that feels stuck in your body, in your heart, in your mind. Allowing it to flow out on waves of sound or simply with your breath. And as you exhale, letting go of anything that is not of this moment, feeling the earth receiving your offerings, everything that you're releasing back into the earth, and breathing up from the earth. On your exhale, sending down a root, a cord of light down into the earth, connecting with the heart core of Mother Gaia. And I invite you, if you wish, to send a low tone of sound down that rooted cord, anchoring you into the earth. I invite you to see that sound that you're making as a red gold energy, infusing the sound itself with that light code color. Taking one more deep breath in and sounding down into the earth, remembering that how I sound is not how you need to sound. This is your voice, your space, whether it is a loud sound or a very quiet sound. Taking this space. Breathing, resting, feeling how much more open your nervous system can feel when we take that time for breath and sound in such a simple way. Breathing up from the earth and feeling this energy filling your whole being now. As we welcome in the presence of all of the benevolent guides, guardians, and helpers that overlight this sacred space today. Breathing that earth energy up to your heart as I play this higher heart chakra aligned crystal singing bowl. I invite you to really open your heart today to feel whatever is present for you in your heart. This is a time on the earth of truly radical emotion, a time when we are all being asked to step forward as leaders, as pillars of light, in our own ways, as we gather in community, in circles of sisters and brothers around the world. This gathering today is one of these gatherings of light. And so we invite in the beings of light today. We invite in the presence of the overlighting guide of our mystery school, Divine Mother Goddess, Hathor. Hathor. Het Heru is her name in the ancient Kemetic language of Egypt. She is the Divine Mother Goddess who created every single living thing in the universe through her sound, through her tone. She resides within each one of us. For this is the goddess path, to know that we are living emanations of the divine. There is no separation. And so here today in this circle, we claim our power to be that creatrix. To step forward boldly, sharing our gifts with the world, sharing our voices. And you can join me in this toning, free singing, bringing in the divine beings in your own space, or simply receive for the next few moments. Allowing these waves of sound to wash over you and to infuse your space with the crystalline sound frequencies of the Divine Mother, returning anything that does not serve you back to source, as you allow these energies of pure love, creation, to enter your space today. You may see, sense, and feel this light cascading in as a rainbow incandescent light. For the Divine Mother contains all colours of the rainbow. She is that cosmic womb of creation from which all things are born and to which all is returned. And so as we bring in this energy today, at the end of this year, inviting you to release into this rainbow incandescent light anything heavy from this year that is present in your mind. Any patterns that you are personally working through, that you're ready to receive guidance around. I invite you to feel here and now the presence of the Divine Mother supporting you to release this. Blessed be. And as we drop deeper through the waves of sound into this sacred space together, just inviting you to feel again the support that the earth has for you. Drinking up with your roots of light, that energy that you need to support you through this holiday season and beyond, this time when there can be extra stresses and strains on the nervous system, on relationships, on communication. Just know that even as we've called in and welcomed the energies of the Cosmic Mother and our connection to the celestial realms, we also remain deeply rooted and grounded here upon the earth. And remembering those of you that feel this connection, that the earth is always our gateway. She's always that key for us to get even more grounded into our human physical embodiment and what is being asked of each one of us at this time. And with this connection to the earth, also knowing and sensing that you have the power and possibility to reclaim gifts and blessings from the other lifetimes when you have walked on the earth in sacred service to the Divine Mother I know many of you here feel that ancient connection, be it a connection to the temples of the Mediterranean, the goddess temples of ancient Greece, the goddess temples of ancient Egypt, ancient civilization across the world. Many of us have walked this path of service, and we know deep in our bones and in our DNA what it means to be a part of a healthy, functioning sisterhood. But these are pathways of knowledge that have not been acknowledged or valued in our human lives for a long time. And so let me ask you this. Are you a part of this reawakening? Are you one of the ones who is bringing forward that deep and loving sisterhood connection in your own life? Whether that is with women in your in-person life or women that you meet online in gatherings such as this, or through our online community. I feel that each one of you is. Yeah, and if you are a part of this journey, please claim this with me by writing yes in the chat. Let us feel that commitment that each one of us is making to being a part of healthy sisterhood community. So beautiful seeing this coming through in the chat. Yes, I claim this. Blessed be. So why this is so important to remind ourselves, right, is because we are still being bombarded with all kinds of propaganda, all kinds of messages from different sources that it is not safe to be in our full feminine embodiment around other women. And so this is a really important and powerful piece for healing that each one of us gets to do in our personal life. And the ways that it can come through is when we are weaving and working online and we see other women who are shining, who are bringing forth their light. There may be parts of us that get triggered and activated, right? Especially if that success or perceived success seems to be in realms that have historically been denied for women, such as financial success, right? Or being seen on a large platform. These are ancient wounds that can be brought up for many of us. And so my invitation to each one of you is to continue this incredible commitment that we've made together today to being a part of that mutual love and respect for other women. And this, a big part of this is forgiving ourselves for those times where we may have judged another, right? Many of us may have that experience, right? I know I have, for sure, in my journey of being a woman so far in my life. And many times since I started my business, I don't mind sharing with you, I've received projections from other women. Yeah, women that I knew in my old version of my life who didn't quite understand the new things that were coming through for me. And when we can meet this with love and attention and see it as a mirror, right, of what comes up for us when we receive that projection, that is such a powerful thing. And that's why rather than being in our bubble and being separated and staying small and not sharing our gifts, how much more brave and courageous is it to actually go out in the world and share the bigness of all that we are, right? This is a big and courageous thing, and it's a core theme for us in our Myrtle Grove Mystery School. It's something that I feel so passionately about. It's really that honoring and spaciousness given to each woman to become the flowering of the divine channel that each one of you is. And that this is no threat. There is no competition in this, right? There is space enough for all of us to share our voices with the world. And this is a core piece that gets cultivated inside of all of my group trainings, and the Priestess training that we're bringing forward in the next months is no exception. This is a space where true sisterhood, love, and connection is actively cultivated between the women in our journey. And what better way to work on this than to work on the voice and the throat chakra, the throat center, right? The space of our creative expression, and the space where historically women have not been permitted to express. So I wasn't expecting to share about this today, but it really felt potent. It really felt that it was coming through. I don't know how many of you saw my post that I made about a week ago on Instagram, which was connected to the judgment that I have seen happening on social media platforms related to how women are choosing to share about the crisis in Gaza and what's going on, and this feeling that if you're not sharing about it every day, you are a terrible person, right? I've seen that being like professed on really big platforms. Now, I feel incredibly strongly about what's happening in the Holy Lands and commitment to peace and praying daily for healing and for the preservation of life there. But it's my choice, just as it is yours, how much we want to use our platforms to share about this, because it's a very complicated issue, correct? Yes, very, very complex. And at least for myself, I'm not on the ground there. I'm listening to the voices of women that are coming from those countries. I'm listening keenly and tapping into platforms where I know that the voices of women who are actually present there, who were directly involved, can really be heard. And so it's a very sensitive piece, but it's something that throughout this time, as Mercury's in retrograde and there is this tendency for communications to sometimes get a little fizzy and a little miscommunication can sometimes happen. My message and my encouragement is to just remain in that heart-centered place of love and acceptance, and know that your sharing is incredibly important. And there is this space of judgment that is taking place, which does not feel supportive from where I stand to the sisterhood and to our true feelings of empowerment around the feminine voice. Now, what has happened recently for us as a community of priestesses and women in service to the goddess is this huge expansion in the online realm. This ability to share our voices and sacred sound, sound healing, chants and songs that flow through us. This is happening at this incredible new rate. And even when I started my work 10 years ago, comparing then to now and looking back at how many platforms there were for us to use, there has been a huge shift and change. So let us use these platforms to share our voice with discernment and with that true connection to our inner voice and the words and sharing that want to come through, rather than a feeling of needing to share because everyone else is, or a feeling that we should or we have to do things. I think this is really powerful and important, is when we choose that inner voice and guidance of what we want to bring through on our platforms. And this is something that in our Priestess of Sacred Sound program, it's really close to my heart, is that personal development for each woman in the program, that you feel deeply connected to your unique voice and sacred sound by the end of our 6-month journey together. Next Tuesday, we will have our initiation ceremony for the women who've been in the program with us this year. Such a joy and blessing, as always, to really feel that beginning that it is to make a priestess initiation, to follow your calling, to begin that journey of sharing your voice and unique wisdom with the world. That is the commitment of the Priestess of Sacred Sound. And I want to share a little bit about this very ancient lineage and the deep sense of connection that we feel when we connect to sound medicine. Because this is something that we've really been exploring in our mystery school for the past couple of years. And I didn't really understand what it was when I first stepped onto my path as a sound priestess. So my journey began when I really began on my Avalon priestess path, and I received incredible training and beautiful initiations in the priestess path of Avalon with the Glastonbury Goddess Temple. And I worked closely with that organization for several years. I was a director at one point for a year as well. And throughout that journey, my teachers really encouraged me to begin bringing through my song and my sound. And I'd always been a singer, but I'd never made that connection between sound and the priestess path. There weren't really that many folks offering sound baths at that time. It was a really new thing in the New Age community. And so I didn't really have any blueprint or examples to follow. Nowadays, sound baths are a super incredible, popular thing, right? It's incredible how sound medicine is weaving its way into our everyday lives. But it was not the case when I began my journey of embodying the sound priestess. And so little by little, I began to follow the breadcrumbs of divine guidance that were coming through for me. And daily, I would call in the goddesses on the wheel of Avalon with song, with sound, which is the way that felt most authentic to me. For some priestesses, it's through movement, through dance, through embodiment. For others, it's through the creation of incredible garments and clothes and incredible priestess tools and instruments. For me, it was the use of my voice. And what I discovered was a healing that was so profound on so many levels. It literally felt every time that I began to use my voice in that devotional way, a little bit like we did at the start of this call, I could feel the ripples of healing that were happening through my throat chakra for my mother line, my father line, my ancestors, and my past lifetimes. Because the throat chakra center is this portal through which we can access so many different realms of our expression. And when I later began to study with one of my main teachers, who's Sally Pullinger, she channels an ascended being called Chung Fu, I really learned about the deep somatics of sound release and using sound as this potent tool for healing. And when I visited the lands of Egypt for the first time, I already was carrying this jewel of creation that was the priestess of sound training in my heart. It feels so beautiful to share this story with you today, and I really hope that it serves those of you that are on a creative journey of birthing your own offerings as well, hearing a bit about my process. And at that time, Jerome and I had already recorded a lot of sacred sound music, and we had grown a following around our music, our independent music. But there was still this feeling in me, it was like there was this message that was just waiting behind the door if I just opened it and really listened. And I knew then that the goddess that was calling me was Hathor, who is the ancient Egyptian goddess of music and sound. And many of you will have heard me speak about and invoke Hathor before, that she's such a powerful goddess for women on the path of reclaiming our voice, because that is literally what she embodies. And she's one of the most ancient goddesses that we know about. Even before humans were carving goddess figurines in the lands of Egypt and the Middle East, we find figurines of the cow the sacred animal of Hathor. She's there right at the beginning of human civilization. And so I could feel Hathor knocking on my door and sending me signs and symbols. Let me know in the chat if you've had a similar experience with another goddess, and if you want to share which goddess it was that was speaking to you, please let us know in the chat. So with Hathor knocking at my door, I knew that I had to physically pilgrimage to Egypt to receive the full potency of what she wanted me to bring through. This is the power of sacred pilgrimage, right? Many of you know that I live here in Glastonbury, the Isle of Avalon, another incredible place where people come specifically on pilgrimage to go on that soul deep dive. And this is the power of sacred pilgrimage. So a month before, or I think it was even 3 weeks before when we went on the trip, I remember walking into the bedroom and being like, Jerome, we're going to Egypt. Where's your passport? And it then ensued this week-long search for Jerome's passport, which we did eventually find. And off we went on our journey. And I knew that there were specific places that I was being guided to go. There are so many incredible temples in Egypt. And if you ever get the opportunity to go there on a sacred pilgrimage, I really, really encourage you to take that opportunity. These sacred lands and sites are so powerful and crystalline. And I remember a priestess sister saying to me before I left, she was like, you won't even need a tour guide. When you get there, you'll remember everything anyway. It will literally be like you're just walking back to a place that's your home. Because she could really see, that connection that I had, and I know many of you may have, to those lands of Egypt, where that priestess lineage was so strong and so powerful. And so sure enough, when I arrived, the signs and messages were there. And many of you know, I'm quite an active researcher. I love to really dive into the archaeology, to the history, what I call the herstory of the sacred sound priestess. And every temple we visited, I would find the images of her. She was always there. Sometimes I had to look a little bit harder, especially in the more recent temples, but she was always there, playing her drum, her tambourine, her sistrum, the sacred instruments of goddess tradition that have evolved throughout the Mediterranean world in different forms, and they are found there in the Egyptian temples, as in many other temples in the Mediterranean. I will always remember the first day of our trip when we journeyed to the Philae temple of Isis, which is located on an island. Now, this island temple has actually been relocated from its original location because of the building of a dam that happened in the 20th century that has sadly demolished a lot of the temples of ancient Egypt. Many people don't know this, but a lot of those temples were destroyed and they're now underwater. So please do journey there if you can, because these sacred sites are very important to go to and to really activate with our priestess vision for the earth that we're creating together. And so when I went to the Philae temple, I looked to the side of one of the beautiful hallways, and I saw the image of the 7 Hathors carrying their tambourines and drums in procession to the queen and the seated goddess. And I had chills and goosebumps throughout my body upon seeing this. It was this incredible remembrance that rippled through my body. Many of you who have had past life experiences will maybe know what I mean by that somatic waking up in the cells when something gets activated and we remember. And I actually think in that case, for me, it was a collective remembrance. Because I did serve in several temples as priestess and priest in Egypt, but Philae is not one that I feel I was maybe physically present at. But if you get to go there, I really hope you will have the opportunity to. I encourage you to find these signs and symbols in the temples that call to you and awaken more of your soul presence and soul purpose. And even if you don't go there physically, it's really possible to do this in the etheric. I have several journeys on my website, the initiations journey, where we go to different sacred sites and invoke those ancient codes. And there are many ways that you can journey in meditation to connect etherically to these ancient sites and bring through the wisdom that's present there. We also do it in the Sekhmet journey that's on my website as well. These are like super low cost offerings if anyone feels called, and they'll help you to really anchor in those ancient codes of remembrance before you physically go there. That's why I created those offerings. So just checking in with the chat to see what folks are saying here. Yes, Hathor is amazing. Beautiful, says Laurie. Ah, beautiful share from Julie here. She says, my journey on the Priestess of Sacred Sound has been life-changing, challenging, but absolutely incredible. And Mother Mary has been with me on my journey and called me to honor her through sacred sound. So beautiful, Julie. Thank you for sharing. And I truly see you, sister, as the incredible divine channel that you are. And being a part of your journey over the past year has been such a blessing. Julie also joined us on retreat, and it was so wonderful to meet you in person. And like she shares, you know, she has that unique connection to Mother Mary that she brings through. If you watch the replay of our Priestess of Sacred Sound concert, which is in our Facebook group, you can watch it there, you'll see a beautiful offering from Julie with her light language and song that comes through, and just the presence of Mother Mary can be felt so potently. So thank you for sharing, Julie. So I'm so happy that many of you feel this ancient calling of sacred sound in your bones, in your body. And it is a very ancient path, as I've already shared this evening. And the final piece of my Egypt journey that I want to share was when I visited the Hathor temple at Dendera, which was the center of worship of Hathor for a long time. Archaeologists debate about how long for, but the present day temple that is there is actually quite recent. And there's been a site of devotion to the Divine Mother there for much longer. But when I went there, I visited a specific spot known as the birthing temple, the birthing chamber. These were additions that were built onto many of the ancient Egyptian temples, and it's my belief, as it is for many other women, that these were spaces where women would give birth and be supported in that rite of passage of between death and life with sacred sound and sound healing practices. And at Dendera, it's really no surprise to me that that birthing temple is next to the Oracle and Dream Temple complex. They're right next door. And this was the space where pilgrims would come to receive healing in the dream time from the sound priestesses. And so when I visited the birthing chamber at Dendera, I was in there and I really asked this question to Hathor: what is it that you are asking me to bring through at this time? This feels like a really big mission. It feels like it's really going to stretch me. Birthing this Priestess of Sacred Sound training. Is it really what would be of best service at this time? How can I do this in a way that maintains a sense of humbleness and a sense of devotion? And in that moment, I was in there toning on my own, and a huge bee entered the temple and flew around me and Jerome 3 times and then flew out again. And this bee, it was a large bee. It may have even been a queen bee. And we're in the middle of the desert. There are no flowers around for this bee. it was an incredible spellbinding moment on my journey of confirmation, because of course bees are one of the sacred animals of Hathor and the lineage of the Hathor priestesses who used honey in many of their sacred rituals. So this was confirmation to me of trusting in the flow and the path that was being laid out to me. And so the Priestess of Sacred Sound training was born. And we're now going into our 3rd year of offering this training. So we have 50 priestesses now who've been through the journey over the past 2 years. And it would be my honor to welcome you to this year's training if it calls. Kia, can you pop the link in the chat for the women so they can find out more about the training? And like I said, tomorrow we'll be opening the waitlist enrollments. So I share this journey, this story with you of my path of creation of this training, because I really believe that it's inspirational to hear about journeys of creation from other women, because this has been a big creation. I've devoted 3 years of my life to creating this training now. 3 years in deep devotion. And before this, all of the years that were leading up to the birth of that creation. And this is what really is possible for us when we devote to a path and we accept that it may take time, right? We accept that the birthing process is something that doesn't happen overnight. And this is why our training is 6 months long. It's a length of time that really allows us to create that sacred space together. And so for any of you here who are birthing something into the world, let us take these moments here to really feel the potency and the power of this time of year, this winter dreaming time, to activate that vision of creation for your life. And you'll notice that in my journey of creation, a key part has been song and sound, because this is a practice that truly brings us into our body. It really enables us to form that connection between our divine self and our human self. So let us take this moment now to once more close your eyes or soften your gaze. And I invite you to feel your connection to the earth. And bring forward in your mind's eye the seed of what you are bringing through in your creative life. It could even be a relationship that you're cultivating. Relationships are incredibly creative. Perhaps it's your sacred work as a priestess, as a sound healer, as a healer of any kind. And we're at this still point now, journeying towards the solstice, where on top of that, Mercury is in retrograde. And so, as I said earlier, this is a time of deep introspection where outward communication is not always the way forward. And inner journeying is the path that Mercury invites us to take, because she rules the mind and communication. So as you tune in to the offerings and the creativity that you are birthing and bringing forward into the world, inviting you to feel that dream that you are seeding and planting into the earth for 2024. And with Mercury in retrograde, it may not be that a clear plan is there yet, just yet, which is absolutely and completely the perfect way, if that's the case. Trusting that the path will become clear to you as and when. But right now, we are seeding that intention into the earth, into the rich and fertile soil And together with our sacred voices to support us, we are going to send 3 tones of sound as we plant that seed into the earth of what we are calling forward to grow, blossom, and transform into the year to come. So taking a deep breath, seeing that seed being planted, and let us make 3 long tones together on any pitch or note you like. And my prayer is for clarity of communication for each one of us here in this group today, that as we journey through the next 2 weeks of Mercury retrograde, that we can really be fully present in our throat centers, in our beautiful throat chakra centers, with our family, with our friends, with those who we hold close to our heart over this holiday season, that our communication can be filled with love and clarity. My prayer is for untold blessings for each one of us here as we plant these seeds for the year to come, and that we can stay anchored in our power, in our gifts, our soul gifts, as we ask for the support of the Divine Mother in all of her forms and faces, for all that we are bringing forward in the year to come. Blessings upon all of your creative endeavors and projects in the year to come, sisters. As we journey through these most challenging of times, we extend this prayer. We pray for deep peace, that all beings may be safe, may be held in the Divine Mother's embrace. We pray for an end to war and suffering, and that we may once more walk in the sacred groves of the Divine Mother as priestesses, as women of knowledge and power, each in our own unique way. And feeling the ripples of this blessing emanating from your heart, adding to this prayer however you wish. And if you feel to share in the chat what you are praying for at this time, we welcome your collective offerings to this prayer. Blessed be. And so reminding you, as we draw to the close of our circle today, that the earth is that resource, that connection to the earth's endless energy, her abundant blessings and resource for us. So as we journey through this winter time, I remind you that you can use this simple practice of breathing up from the earth through your body up into your heart to resource you with that Divine Mother's love in connection with the earth. This is a practice I love to do when I walk the land, when I walk in nature, with every step that I take, even though at this time of year it's a bit too cold to do that barefoot. We can still feel that connection to the earth and that earth energy rising up through our being to nourish and support us throughout whatever challenges, whatever difficulties we may face, and filling our heart with that resourced energy that we need to be that overflowing chalice and cup in the world. So just checking in with the chat. I'm going to read these beautiful prayers aloud to close our circle today. I pray for peace within the hearts of all beings, says Julie. Lisa, praying for the great awakening for all. Blessed be. Tara, I offer the prayer that all sentient beings remember how to walk in the sacred way and desire to do nothing less. Blessed be. Kia, Om Shanti, 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 praying for universal peace. Blessed be, sisters. Thank you for joining us today, giving thanks to the deep presence of the Divine Mother, of Hathor, and all that she supports us to bring through in our Myrtle Grove Mystery School. We give thanks to Hathor's embrace and the love divine within each one. May it overlight your path in the weeks and months to come. Deep blessings to all of you. Blessings and peace. May we kindle this candle in our hearts in the weeks to come as we journey through this dark time of the year towards the rebirth of the light at the winter solstice. I send my love to each one of you. So much love and many blessings. Thank you for being a part of this circle, and we will meet again at the beginning of the new year. The dates will be sent out to you shortly for our next community circle. Much love, everyone. Bye for now.